Good morning. We'll call to order the meeting of the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. Mr. Snow.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. The agenda is in order.
Motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your next item is to receive the General Manager's report. And we'd like to begin by recognizing our latest superstar of the quarter. As you know, each quarter we select an individual to recognize that staff member for his or her contribution that goes above and beyond. And superstars of the quarter are nominated by their peers and their supervisors, and we choose the person who best personifies our agency's vision and culture. Today, I'm very proud to introduce to you our newest superstar, is Mary Polidoro. There's a lovely picture of Mary with the cursive script and everything, her name up in lights on the RTC marquee. She's only been with the agency for about a year, but she's had a major impact on the RTC, and I'm looking for my peripheral materials. In years past, if you have taken the hours that it takes to go through your regional transportation plan, it can be a somewhat mind-numbing document. And thanks to Mary, she has taken this plan and made it so that myself and others of the senior staff can actually find some understanding in it, and made it much more understandable and easy to understand and much more appealing to read to the general public. Well, why don't you say that?
Yes, even those of us with really short attention spans were able to read it and enjoy it, and the graphics were quite helpful in understanding the message. So thank you, Mary.
Plenty of pictures, and so much so, she worked a tremendous amount of time on this and was recognized by the International Association of Business Communicators with the 2008 Special Publication Award of Excellence for your regional transportation plan. But above and beyond that, Mary does a great job on outreach with our stakeholders in the community. She has been the primary point of contact for your downtown connector project. There's been a lot of construction coordination that's been taking place on that. She's done a great job, and she puts a great face to the RTC. So with that, we would like to have Mary come forward, and we have a plaque for her, and we'd like to have her take her picture with the board, please.
Squeeze in close there. Smile. Okay, one more.
It is.
Okay, ready? Here we go. All right, thank you. Tina, what false pretense did we get her down here this morning under?
I think staff is generally intrigued and entertained and educated by these meetings, so
Mary,
she
on
was
behalf
thrilled
of
to be invited.
on behalf of the board, congratulations.
Okay, the next item as part of our general manager's report is to let you know that the agency's received a prestigious honor. The Institute of Transportation Engineers has selected your Downtown Connector ACE project as its Nevada Project of the Year, and we have that plaque here. And we're very excited about opening that project that will be done probably by the end of this year. So congratulations to the City of Las Vegas, and congratulations to the RTC, who were essentially joint recipients of that honor. A few more items of recognition. We'd like to recognize our outstanding marketing and communications team. They've recently been awarded with the prestigious Bronze Quill from the International Association of Business Communicators for the RTC Viva Bike Vegas bicycle jersey. And you can see the designer of that bicycle jersey is your own Jan Wadsworth, who is a graphic artist, and he's proudly displaying the Bronze Quill Award. We'd like, Jan is here, I know, because he just took the pictures. We'd like to have Jan stand and be recognized. Congratulations.
Jan, if you could just put the camera up and face it to you and just snap a picture. Very good. Congratulations.
We had 3 RTC projects receive an Excellence Award, the Viva Bike Vegas logo itself, and we already mentioned the Regional Transportation Plan Report, and the RTC Pocket Guide, which is available in all the buses for free. It contains most of the information that's available in the normal RTC bus guide, but this is free, and so it's really helped us to reduce our printing cost and to provide information to the public for free. And so we'd like to congratulate the marketing and communications team at the RTC for helping our agency to shine so well. Finally, we do have a new service that we think is going to be very much appreciated by members of the public who we think will be very interested in subscribing. Your Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation Division is providing to Southern Nevada commuters a new service that beginning today, drivers will be able to sign up for email and text messages from FAST staff whenever there is a freeway closure or a partial freeway closure. And that will help you to get around and avoid some of the problems and the congestion that can occur because of accidents and incidents. Now, these notifications will only be sent for major incidents that are expected to trigger significant delays and will not be sent if the accident is on the shoulder and not blocking a travel lane. The traveling public can be assured that when they are notified via text or email that the information is accurate, that's because the information will only be forwarded in the form of a text message or an email after FAST staff have actually verified the incident with their closed-circuit TV cameras. And so this premium service will be available for the area where we do have the camera coverage, and that is the I-15 corridor between the 215 Beltway on the south and Lake Mead Boulevard on the north, and I-515 between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Charleston Curve. Now, in the very near future, US 95 between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Rainbow Curve will also have this premium coverage. And after that, I just had a conversation with Director Susan Martinovich. We anticipate that the fast packages for the East Leg Freeway, Interstate 515 from Charleston all the way out to Henderson, will have this premium coverage, and that'll probably take about a year or so to get that in place, but we're excited about that. Now, messages will be sent during the times when you actually have fast staff in the Traffic Management Center to verify this information and to note it, and that's Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on weekends from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. So we've been testing this for quite a while. We're confident that it's going to be very, very beneficial information, and we're very excited about that. There will be a press release that will go out today notifying the public about this, and they can go to our website and sign up. It'll be right there on the home page today.
Thank you. Councilman Hayden?
Mr. Chair, Jacob, when the incident is cleared, will there be a text message also sent out that the incident has been cleared?
You know, during the beta testing, I have seen that there is information when there's a full freeway closure. A text message is sent out when the freeway is open again. I don't know that we do that for partial freeway closures. Yeah.
Councilman Ross?
Mr. Chairman, and I apologize to the board, I must run out to the city of North Las Vegas at this time to attend a graduation of one of my sons graduating from the police academy for the city of Las Vegas. So,
Congratulations.
Mr. Snow, I appreciate your presentation. I'll let him know that. So if you'd excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Expect your text from FAST on the way out there. I think we're,
We'll alert our officials you're coming, Councilman.
that's congratulations.
We'd also like to thank our partner at FAST, the Nevada Department of Transportation, and Director Martinovich. We think this is going to be a service that very well appreciated by the community. And unless there are any questions or comments from the board, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, that concludes the general manager's report.
Very good, thank you.
We now go to your consent agenda, which is made up of items 3 through 29.
So motion on the floor, comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We now go to the administration and finance portion of your agenda. For item number 30, and then for the two following that are the Metropolitan Planning Organization items, we have 3 items to discuss with you about the economic stimulus. And our Assistant General Manager, M.J. Maynard, will do item 30.
Mr. Chairman, item 30 is approved Federal Transit Administration grant application NV 96X001 and authorize the Department of Finance to obligate the funds. This proposed Section 5307 capital program grant application, if approved by the FTA, will provide financing for potential RTC transit capital projects such as Central City Terminal, Northwest Valley Terminal, and Express Park and Ride, and Ace Boulder Highway Bus Rapid Transit. The RTC has pre-award authority to encumber funds and has complied with all federal requirements. The specific project included in this grant application is included in the FY 2009 State Transportation Improvement Program. Staff recommends approval.
Comments or questions? Motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. We now go to your Metropolitan Planning Organization portion of your agenda, and Dr. Fred O'Haney, the Assistant General Manager over the MPO, has those items.
Item 31 is to approve the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act project list, an amendment to the fiscal year 2009 to 2012 Transportation Improvement Program, and authorize the chairman or his designee to sign any required certifications or other administrative matters to effect receipt of their monies. Mr. Chairman, on February 17, 2009, President Obama signed into law the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 to stimulate the nation's economy. The act provides about $27.5 billion for highway and bridge projects and about $6.9 billion for transit investments nationwide. Of that amount, approximately $39 million is allocated to Southern Nevada for highway projects and about $34 million for transit projects. The RTC, in cooperation with the local jurisdictions, has developed a list of projects for funding under these ARRA allocations. I also want to add that under the federal regulations, the adopted fiscal year 2009 to 2012 Transportation Improvement Program has to be amended when there are major changes to its funding elements. This amendment will allow the RTC and the local jurisdictions to receive the $73 million in federal funds allocated to Southern Nevada through the Act. Lastly, the Act also provides a number of reporting requirements and certifications to ensure that the funds provided are invested quickly and in accord with job retention and creation purposes of the Act. We've provided 2 handouts today. There's one on an 8.5 by 11 sheet and one on 11 by 17 sheet. The bigger handout lists all projects by each of the various entities. If approved today, we would move forward with amending our tip and forward that information to NDOT and subsequent to the Federal Highway Administration for approval. That will allow us to receive the monies for the projects listed on this list. The list includes projects by Clark County, the City of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City, and Mesquite, as well as the RTC's transit projects totaling about $33.6 million. We'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Commissioner?
Thank you. As part of the stimulus, I believe, these are all our shovel-ready, well, we have more, but these are our shovel-readies that we could move onto the list.
That's correct.
Do we not have to also at some point indicate how many persons we think will be employed based on that job? And then how will that information be provided?
There are various reporting requirements with these funds. We have to provide that information to the state, and then the state subsequently has to report that to the federal government at the government recovery.org website.
Okay, so if once one of these projects goes out to bid, then the employer that's selected would tell you, we have 10 flaggers, 14
Correct.
this,
The list of
15.
employees.
Most of these will be about a 2-month period job because it's pulverized and paved? or
It
do we-
varies. It depends on the length of the project. So it may take from 2 months to 6 months, or possibly a year.
Okay.
The RTC projects, for example, on Boulder Highway is going to take 18 months.
That's a longer one, so.
Correct.
Okay, and so then that goes to Susan's group, and then they communicate that then to the federal government.
Correct.
And do we make sure that in our projects that we're representing, or that the company is also complying with the intent of gender and minority hiring that comes into these projects
Yes,
as
there
well?
are no, since it's federally funded, we still have to comply with all the federal requirements. That includes disadvantaged business enterprise requirements
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Nothing has changed in the regs.
And the prevailing wages in there as well?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I would move to accept the suggested projects for the stimulus funding
And approve the tip amendment.
and approve the TIP plan. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 32 is to receive a report from the Nevada Department of Transportation on the agency's plans for using economic stimulus funds in southern Nevada and direct staff accordingly. Mr. Chairman, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act will provide approximately $201 million in additional highway funding to the state of Nevada. And Director Martinovich is here to provide an overview of how those funds will be used in southern Nevada.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Just would like to expand a little bit on and build on what Fred had said, is that of the $27.5 billion that was allocated nationally towards transportation, and just to give you a comparison, is that typically the federal allocation on a yearly basis is 36 to 40 billion. So just a little bit less than what we would normally get in our federal allocation. Of that $27.5 billion, $201 million was allocated to the state of Nevada. NDOT has the discretion for $140 million. Clark County has indicated $39 million. Washoe County received $9 million. The enhancement category, which is one of the many federal categories, received $6 million. And then areas less than 200,000 received approximately 7 to 10 million. We're still allocating that. There were some conditions of the bill to make sure, the intent was to make sure that the bill provided the immediate impact that it was to have to bring jobs and help with economic relief, that 50% of the DOT's suballocation has to be obligated within 120 days. That 120 days has started. There's some question of when it started. We're assuming it started when the bill passed. So we're taking the conservative route that we have about 100 days left to spend $70 million or to obligate it. Obligate means that we have to have the what's called the PS&E package, the right-of-way certified, the NEPA done, and then the projects on a plan. We are fanatic about this because that money that isn't spent or obligated in that time frame will be taken away. And we do not want to lose any money, and we're also setting ourselves up to be in a position to get money that other states lost. We are hearing that that value could be as much as $8 billion nationally, so we definitely are working to be in that position to get the money. The money has, there's been some other categories that Fred and Jacob had identified. There's also $1.5 billion in discretionary grants that we'll be looking to apply for, the transit, both rural and urban transit, and then the high-speed rail corridors. The act had some specific requirements related to the projects, is that the projects, the majority of them needed to be completed, not just obligated and out the door, but completed by February of 2012, that the projects had to be located in economically distressed areas. We feel that Nevada, all of Nevada qualifies, especially Clark County and Washoe County with the double-digit inflation. It's just a matter of NDOT and the state documenting our reasons of why we're putting projects in the areas that we are, but we feel confident that we could do that. As I indicated, the money has to be spent within time periods, and then it has to maximize jobs. As also indicated, is not every project can just go, is that the project scopes, they have to be federally eligible. So the project scopes have to do some structural component. Slurry seals, chip seals don't qualify. It's got to be, the mill and the overlay and the pavement preservations. All the projects that the RTC has identified and that the department has identified all meet the qualifications. The NEPA process needs to be done. The right-of-way needs to be done. And what that means is that the right-of-way has to be certified for ownership and certified that it's in the public domain. So that has limited some of the roads in the very rural areas of our state. That there also has to be on a statewide plan, and so your action today takes care of that feeding into our statewide plan, and then subsequently FHWA will approve it. There's a maintenance of effort requirement that the governor has to certify to the Federal Highway Administration or the USDOT that the department or the state will not use these funds to supplement funds we would ordinarily use, and we have that commitment. We will still maintain the program that we intended to maintain, and then this is on top of it. And we think that this, any amount of money is positive because we do have huge backlogs in our capacity and preservation programs, so we intend to spend all of this money. There also needs to be a subsequent letter in early April that indicates the funds will be used to create jobs and promote economic health, and so we're moving forward with that. We've been working with your staff, and we're just, I'm just very excited and happy of the relationship that we have. Everyone and all the entities here in Clark County have come together to rally, and we're united as a state on which projects to move forward, and that's pretty unique from what I hear on other states. That we've worked with the League of Cities, we've worked with NACO to further identify projects. We've been working with the legislature to identify the projects. They've seen the list. There were two hearings earlier this week, one with the joint money committees and one with the joint transportation committees, received comments and input from that. Our list, and on the top it says discussion purposes only. But this is the list that I am taking to my transportation board this afternoon, and I'll just pass that around and have other copies available. But this is the proposed list that I'm recommending to our transportation board to approve today because of the tight time frames. We intend to put out our first project next week and then subsequently have the projects ready to go and out the door by May. The final distribution of the financing is that Clark County receives 54% of the funding allocation, Washoe County 14%, and statewide is 32%. The projects that were selected are projects that have gone through a priority process, either the state's priority process or the RTC's priority process. And for the state's end of the funding, the 140, they're projects that carry predominantly the largest volumes of traffic in this state. They're on I-15, I-80, US 95, so they're either on the interstates or the national highway system. The list, as I indicated, was provided to the legislature, and we're working through to get the final approval today. There are large reporting requirements, Commissioner Giuliani, that we are still waiting for guidance from USDOT, but because we plan to move quicker than USDOT will provide guidance, we have been told that both the general and the subcontractors have to provide us us information on how many people they have working now, how many people that they are hiring, so the number of employees, the hours, the wages, and they have to do that monthly. It isn't just a one-time. There are some very strict and frequent reporting requirements that is part of this bill. We do intend to have the lists and the accountability and put it on our website. We're working with your staff and Washoe County staff to make sure that the links are all coordinated so that we're open and transparent so that people can see what we are doing and what projects we're doing. The Act also discusses disadvantaged business enterprise bonding, and there have been issues discussed in the legislature regarding DBE and WBEs and percentages. Because of the federal requirements, Nevada right now is not allowed, as per Ninth Circuit Court rulings, that we've had to put race conscious, and that means percentages of DBEs required. However, we're looking at some strategies to ensure or to provide opportunities for DBEs through this package, but more importantly, not just with this, but in the long term on how NDOT does business in incorporating disadvantaged business enterprises. That's just in a summary. In the sheet that I provided, again, the first top of the projects are for the 120 days. We laid out that we can spend the $70 million, but that definitely doesn't mean that the others go after the 120 days. I know that Jacob and his staff are ready and moving, and as well as the entities, and moving projects forward. I and all of us have been fanatic about let's get these out sooner than later because we don't know the specific timeframes, and again, we do not want to jeopardize any of the funds, so we want to be set and ready to get any additional money that we can have, so we're really pushing just to get these out the door quickly. There are other projects you can see on the list that it totals more than $201 million, as I indicated that we get. We have been getting some really good bids, and so we, again, want to make sure that we have enough projects and enough funding projects allocated to spend all the money that we get. So there's some cushion in the projects. There's also subsequent projects, should we get money, that we can feed back in. And so I think with the team that we have in place through the Department of Transportation and Southern Nevada RTC, as well as the local Washoe and NACO League of Cities, that we are ready to spend the money and spend it appropriately. So it'll pass the, it will not be any bridge to nowhere. These are very credible, needed projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Go ahead. Commissioner, Lemon first.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A couple questions. Is there an audit requirement of the companies, or are they just self-reporting the number of employees?
Commissioner, I don't know that the federal guidelines will be doing spot checks. The Office of, and I just drew a blank, the big guys out of USDOT, they have indicated that they will be providing much oversight on this, so I think that will be one of the areas that they have. It won't be on every single one, but they are going to be doing spot checks just on that very thing to make sure that the numbers aren't being expanded on.
Could we include in our contract language that if someone falsifies information, that they can't bid for a certain period of time on?
Oh, absolutely,
projects?
because that goes with the responsive and responsible bidding criteria,
Okay.
and so we have some of that now.
Okay. And then if I look at the list that's here under Clark County, it says Las Vegas Boulevard widening or Sand Hill Mountain Vista Eastern. Is that in case the widening does not count, therefore that's the default?
It does. Right now, that project is pending a NEPA approval.
Okay.
And we anticipate that NEPA approval will be forthcoming. And if it is not, then we will go to those other projects that you see on the list.
Okay, and then if bid monies come in better, are any of these, whether it's City of Las Vegas, North Las, can you then bump up the second tier no matter then? Okay, so
Yes.
that there's not a prohibition against that part of it. This is really a silly question, so bear with me. If we're doing pavement and pulverized, but there's an underlying piece of structure that you have to deal with on edging or whatever in order to qualify. I know years ago, I think it was actually Nick Horn chaired a committee to require bike lanes wherever appropriate in the state plan, and that was as they were doing pulverizing and pavement. Would any of that striping for that or additional space for that count as are we anticipating any of that in our pulverize and paving? And I don't know.
For our local projects,
Whatever,
off the
yeah.
top of my head, Commissioner, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that we have a plan in place called our alternative mode
Correct.
transportation plan, to where when there are projects like this taking place in those corridors, then we will go ahead and restripe them in accordance with your guidelines for bicycle
It just seemed to me it's
infrastructure.
an opportunity to bring us into the compliance that we were intending to get to 15 years ago, that as we're doing that wherever possible, not just locally, but at the state level, because there had been a bike plan, I don't even know where it exists any longer, but that had been part of it. And I just didn't want us to lose an opportunity if we could do that in conjunction with some of these.
Commissioner, from the state level, that most of those, our projects are on the interstate, so they
So it
wouldn't be
wouldn't
there.
count.
But there are some of the other projects, and if there's an opportunity to provide some additional pavement without the right-of-way impacts, then definitely we do incorporate that in our
Okay.
projects.
Thank you. And then you mentioned high-speed rail. So I'm personally a proponent of that, and I think throughout the state, but also Clark County, we should be doing more of that rather than less. What is the plan, or what's in place, or what's being considered?
Right now, that's one of those areas where we're still waiting for guidance from the USDOT and the Secretary of Transportation, is that we're hearing a lot of items, and we think that it would be a grant type of program, but we're still watching to see what specifically that entails.
And is that the additional money that was secured for high speed? Bless you.
Yes, it is. It's separate than this
Okay.
money, and it's an additional allocation.
Okay. Because I know that there had been a group a gazillion years ago that had been looking at from here to LA, and I personally think that that's got to be part of our target economy change. I personally don't think a maglev is the right way to go, but high speed truly is. And so I just hope that as we're looking at that, to me, the corridor could parallel your freight line very easily and not actually impact much on the EIS, because I did the Amtrak a gazillion years ago that looked at that. So I just hope that that's still part of the conversation.
Absolutely, separate conversation from the ARRA funds, but definitely that I-15 corridor is a prime corridor with the proposal of Ivanpah and with the freight growth, and then still the growth of visitors, and so we recognize that and are working with whoever has the ability to get in there. You know, NDOT isn't choosing one or the other. We're just working to facilitate something because we think that it is also the right way to go to move people.
No, I appreciate that. And I just don't think we need to waste time on antiquated transport, if that's the case. And then finally, as you mentioned, Ivanpah, we did have, and we may still have, a lack of industrial space, but there's also congestion that comes in because large trucks have to come into the valley to do their deliveries and such. Is there anything that anticipated, either locally or there, for more of a roadway that drops off and then smaller vehicles can come in for delivery purposes or whatnot, so you don't have all the huge truck traffic, and that might be an industrial core that could be looked at? And I don't know if that's an NDOT, if that's local.
It's a combination of everyone in the county working together. We've identified that corridor as one of our corridors of the future, along with California and with Utah and that little bit in Arizona, to really look at how that corridor should function. And definitely the transportation and the freight and the goods movement are some items and ideas that we are planning and looking at, and then seeking funding nationally in order to address that.
Because I think Reno and Tahoe did that actually in the near future, and so or in the past. And it seems to me that we've got some potential corridors on the one end in North Las Vegas, and then on that corridor in California. I just don't want us to lose an opportunity if that's the case.
Oh, no, we recognize that I-15 is the priority corridor in the state, and especially south at that end, is that we need to keep it flowing for the economic
Try
benefit.
to minimize congestion. I do like your congestion idea, though.
Yeah.
But that's for another discussion, another day.
One note is that this list that I handed out, this was based on a different Clark County list, so please, I knew that today was occurring, and so it will be fed in to correct that. Just needed a placeholder. Thank you.
I just
Councilman?
have one question of our local contractors. Are they going to be able to keep up with the pace and supply and demand on all these projects?
They have assured us, yes, and our strategy also is that we are distributing when we advertise these projects so that we aren't putting a whole bunch out in a short period of time to give them that opportunity. So yes, all of these projects could be ready to go within 120 days, but because of the contracting community and working with them and getting the bids and not overwhelming that, we are looking at spacing it out. So, but they've assured us yes, and I have no reason not to support that.
And then another question is, if, say in the city of North Las Vegas, we're doing one of our overlays and run into something that's unforeseen that they caught as they roto-milled some of the old stuff off, now would that be back onto the city to fix whatever they need to be fixed so that can keep going, or would that money also be used to fix some of those unforeseen issues if there was any?
What we'll do is that pretty much the projects that we've identified should be pretty clean,
Okay.
that there wouldn't be some big items. But if something comes up, we're not going to stop in the middle of the project and cancel it. We'll work together locally to determine the funding and decide where to go and how to do it. But the projects will not stop.
Thank you. Councilman?
Mr. Chair, just a comment on a question. You know, I know initially there were some concerns, and I just appreciate you, Susan, listening to the local jurisdictions here, bringing us to the table, and I think as a result, we have a more equitable statewide program. So just thanks for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
A couple questions here. If any of the state projects don't meet the 120 days, do we have an early warning system in place that we could keep that money within our state project?
I think the answer is yes. I mean, we're diligently watching them, and so if we don't have any, or if something, these are all ready, and I'm very confident because they've just been sitting on the shelf. But if for some reason, someone discovers that there's a water pipe and we need huge amount of right-of-ways all at the last minute, we will definitely be working with your staff and on what projects can we move up to meet that time frame. So I'm confident that we're not going to lose that money.
And to follow up on an earlier question, if there are project savings on perhaps the RTC's list, likewise, if we start to see those savings through the bid process, can we use those savings immediately to strengthen our list or add to our list?
Absolutely, yes.
So
So
that-
we'll be keeping a running total in our accounting, in our own accounting system, because we have to get into agreements with you all, because the money does come through us, through you, and then our own accounting system, we've compartmentalized, and so we will be tracking it to see where we are on that. So definitely we can boost up and do combinations of projects.
And are we allowed, Jake, are we allowed to supplement, say if we get down and it's very aggressive, if the last few projects need supplemental funding of the stimulus, are we allowed to then come in with our own funding to help those projects?
Absolutely. Just an example of a couple of projects, the Boulder Highway ACE Rapid Transit System. To complete that the way that we would like to be able to complete it, we don't have enough stimulus money now. If there's additional stimulus money that comes available, that's a project that's ready to go that could probably receive an additional $20 million. And also, on the list of projects that we presented to you today, there are our own backup projects that we can plug and play, so to speak. And there are probably a handful, probably less than a half a dozen projects that we could go to Susan directly right now and say, these are the PS&Es for these transit projects, and there's probably a couple dozen or so roadway projects that may fit that bill. So it's not going to be a result of a lack of projects that are ready to go and capable of spending the money. And we can certainly mix and mingle funds from other sources so that we can have projects go forward.
As an example, Mr. Chair, is the Washoe County, they made they're using their allocation for one project, and it's a $50 million project, and their allocation is 12, and so the remaining is being funded through other funds that they're identifying.
Okay, and traditionally, in the bureaucracy of bidding, we have anywhere from 30 to 90 days just through the normal process, and that's from the time we give the go to purchasing all the way to a potential bid protest. And in light of the fact that we may be 20 days into this 120-day window, do we, and especially this is to our member agencies, do we have the infrastructure in place to accelerate and make sure we're at the front of the line?
Yeah, the local entities fortunately have a year as opposed to the 120 days for the state.
Oh, ours is not 120 days. That was just the state's.
That was
So
ours.
you're under all the pressure, Susan. We're good.
Yeah, but
We're
after
good to go.
120 days, I'm relaxing.
But in addition, some of the entities have already taken action to delegate authority from the chairman of the city councils or boards to the managers of the cities. North Las Vegas has done this, I believe, already. In which case, all documents that come in place, they don't have to bring it back to the city council. It's going to be signed by the city manager. This would help expedite the process.
Excellent.
We feel strongly that we need to treat this money as if it were 120-day money anyway. And part of the reason that I think Susan feels this sense of urgency to get these projects out the door is not just to deal with the economy and the job situation, but to put the state in a position where we can receive money that will be reallocated from other states that don't move as quickly. And there's a good track record that the state has in doing that in the past in receiving fallout money, which is a similar type of money. And so we want to be able to put ourselves in that position and demonstrate that we will be capable of getting the projects out the door expeditiously. So we plan on treating our money as if it were 120-day money.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Your next item is citizens' participation.
Is there anyone wishing to speak to the board this morning? If so, please step forward. I'd like you to place your name and address on the record for us when you are ready to speak. Good morning.
My name's Salvatore Bendot, P.O. Box 621690, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89162. And I've missed quite a few meetings because of my illnesses and all. And there's a couple things that I would like to bring up that I've missed in the past. One was I know that we normally don't have snow days here in Las Vegas. It was a big problem this winter. I was coming down the bus on Warm Springs, and nobody told us that the buses along Eastern were not running. We got off, we're standing there for an hour or better, and as you know, the RTC telephone numbers were, quite jammed, and so we ended up standing there getting sprayed and everything else, and then we were able to find out, oh, gee, we're standing there for no reason because the buses aren't going up into Henderson, they're being turned around. If something like that were to happen again, and I really don't hope it doesn't, because that's one of the reasons why I moved here to Las Vegas, so I can look up at Mount Charleston and say that's the snow. I seriously hope that you might have something in place to possibly send out supervisors or some type of traffic out there to tell people, hey, the bus isn't coming, or, it might be in another hour or something. So, you can go inside the 7-Eleven maybe and get warm, or, get something hot to drink, or, or find another way home. Also, this would be a pretty idea as our days in the summer are getting hotter. Or some of our bus fleet, they break down quite a bit. And again, you have people standing there waiting, and if there were some way to tell, again, send out supervisors or something, to say, hey, you might be here for about an hour or so, they can find other ways, or, have some relief from the weather. Also, I like the idea about your the 207 going all the way to Rainbow, and going half an hour and all, and that's been going very good. I do travel on that bus quite a bit, and your idea of going between the hospitals is a very good idea too, and I'm glad that you were able to get something together. One problem though is now with you closing the mall for the bus, or that the mall is not a destination. The other night, I was standing in front of the YMCA, waiting for the 207. I was told by another bus driver who let me off there that there's supposed to be a stop there. As I came back out and I was waiting, the 207 passed me by. And, I didn't have anything to do. I called and talked to the community service, community customer service, and she looked, and at first she said, yes, there should be a stop there. Then she looked again, she says, oh no, it's down by Valley View. If that is the case, I would really hope that you would look at putting a stop somewhere along the way, because that's quite a distance between the two stops, at Decatur and down at Valley View. So that's something that I hope you would look at. Also, one other thing.
You're going to wind up the comments now? Very good.
If I may.
Please.
I would also like to get a clarification. I've gotten different answers from people. As you know, I have a little bit, I have a handicap, and sometimes I have to take a bus down and then come back to get across the other side of the road. And I've been told 3 times now by bus drivers that you are not allowed to do that. They said that you cannot go and do a turnaround. And, for somebody like me or, other people that have handicaps, that puts you in quite a position. Because where I live now is, there's a backstop here across the street. There's the regular stop, but the only way to really work them is to come back around to get to them. So
Very good. Now, I'm going to ask you to stay after the meeting and have one of our staff people meet with you. It's good to have you back. I'm glad you're feeling better.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Mr. Russell.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. My name is Teddy Russell, a resident of Las Vegas. It is ironic indeed that those, and I'm way past what I was when I first started attending these meetings, thinking that RTC is just transit. Well, it is transit and much, much more. The bus drivers who seem to go ballistic, cry, scream when I fall asleep on their buses need to know that I have a physical condition which mimics narcolepsy. I do not ride buses to go to sleep. But these are the bus drivers that will never, ever watch this particular broadcast. I'm somewhat of a purist in that when I go into a smoking store or a cigarette store and they say no smoking, I don't understand. I would like to remind all RTC personnel that it is your obligation to watch these meetings to really keep current. I am entirely jazzed about ACE all the time. I've changed my priorities. I'm spending a lot more time in Clark County. And as I did this, I have to confide that I get lost in a paper bag. I have no time consciousness. I don't take the buses to go to sleep, but I often take the buses so I'll get to where I'm going without being lost. When I did change from spending my time downtown to on the Strip, as it were, I spent half my life in the middle of the construction for the downtown connector, or I was being magnetically drawn into the naked city, which is something you don't want to do at all. I commend you. I have every confidence that you will continue to bring us a great year. I caused some stir at the board meeting of Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority saying, yes, Las Vegas will come back bigger, better, and faster than you would have ever thought possible. I know that this is so, and at a certain level you all do too. I give you every encouragement. I thought it was a fascinating experience with the change in the race and the schedule and everything else, and we're all live and we live to tell about it. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Robert, middle initial L, last name Davis. I'm a longtime resident of Las Vegas. My address would be a mailing address, Post Office Box 70671, zip code 89170. You look familiar. Are you Mr. Snow? Okay. Mr. Snow and Mr. Brown, I especially want to direct this to you gentlemen because of your positions. I've been wronged by some employees of the RTC. Being that this is the end of the meeting and possibly you folks are at the point of saturation from information and sitting in the chairs and being here, I'll try to be cognizant of that and be as brief as possible, but yet I have a situation that's a little complicated and I need to explain it. I wrote a letter to a gentleman in customer service, I guess he was a supervisor, named Rodriguez, and I just want to hit on the beginning of the letter. On January 4th, 2009, I inadvertently left my backpack on a 202 bus. The time of the day was approximately 9:15 a.m. I got off on Boulder Highway across the street from Sam's Town Casino. I called your customer service staff, CAT ride number, within 10 minutes of getting off the bus. The female who answered the phone told me that it was not your policy to get in touch with drivers when items are left on a CAT bus. I immediately asked to speak to a supervisor. I was transferred to a female named Val. I asked her if she was a supervisor, and she said yes. I'll stop there and say that in the CAT guide on page 15, it states that special exceptions are made in cases of medication, wallets, and purses being left, that you will make the attempt to communicate. So possibly that person wasn't aware of that. Well, the person, Val, supposed supervisor that came on the phone, told me the same thing, but she was a little more gentler with it and said, well, we maybe can make exceptions if it's very important. And I told her my brand new dentures were in my backpack along with my medication. And could she do that? Well, she said she would try to. Well, I'm going to try to fast forward here and say that I didn't get any satisfaction from subsequent calls during that week, because that was a Sunday, about my backpack. But see, my point is this. I just wanted to get closure on the matter and find out if the individual did what they were supposed to do. And through subsequent contact on January 15th, and again, I beg your indulgence, because I wanted to be a little better prepared and have copies of this for you, but I just simply have to read what actually happened. And I'll try to be, explicit so you can understand, because you're listening. I made 3 calls to Cat Ride on January 15th, 2009. A female answered the phone. I asked for the supervisor, Val. I was transferred, and someone named Josephine answered. I asked for Val. Her response to my request was, can I help you? This is Josephine. I told her that I needed to speak to the supervisor, Val, because I had spoken to her previously, and I wanted to get closure and find out, did she, in fact, communicate with the driver of the bus? She told me that she couldn't connect me with Val. I explained to her that I had been connected to Val previously when I had called this same number. After hearing me say that, her story changed to, oh, Val walked away from her desk. She told me, Josephine told me to call back in 10 minutes. I called back in 10 minutes. I was transferred. Josephine picked up the phone again. She said that Val was on another line. She asked me if I wanted to hold, and I said yes. I held, excuse me, folks. I held for 7 minutes. Josephine came back on the line and asked me if I was still holding. I told her yes, because this call was very important to me. Within my hearing, Josephine said, Val, what is your extension over there? She transferred me. The phone rang 20 times. I counted each and every ring. The call finally went to Val's voicemail, and I left a brief message. I called Cat Ride immediately again. 1 minute later, I asked for Josephine this time. Josephine asked me, could she help me now? I told her yes. I asked for the name of the person that she and Val reports to, that person's title, and that person's phone number. Josephine gave me that information, which was Mr. Rodriguez. She told me that she couldn't give me a direct line, but that she could connect me with Kenny Rodriguez. I told her to please connect me. 15 seconds went by, and guess who came on the phone? I heard a female voice say, this is Val. I said, well, I was waiting for Kenny Rodriguez to come on the phone, because if you can imagine, I was very ticked at that point in time, and possibly I should have maybe seized the opportunity to speak with her, but I don't know what would have transpired in the conversation. Shortly thereafter, he came on the phone, and this is the letter that I sent to him. So I'm saying now, and I'm going to try to wrap it up, I wanted to try to get in touch with you, sir, and basically I called administrative number for RTC, and I was connected with a person who tried to deal with me in your stead, okay? And now, as I see from the emails she and I have sent back and forth, in my opinion, she tried to waylay me, okay? And I don't appreciate that, because I've been riding this system since it started, That means I've been riding it longer than probably many of the people that work for RTC have been working for it. And I don't appreciate that. And this department is customer service. We just had a big increase. I don't mind that, but is this what I expect for my money? Okay, now I'm going to cut the drama. Here's where it stands right now. I can't get 2 questions answered from this person, this representative of the RTC who's trying to act in your stead, because I simply asked for a phone number for your administrative assistant or something, or a email address, and she acted like she couldn't give it to me. She couldn't find it, or it wasn't available for her. But in essence, she wanted to step in, because I still haven't heard anything from Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, and I'm not faulting him, but this person whose title is probably above him possibly told him to back off. And it's almost seemingly now that there's 2 cover-ups going on here. The initial willful neglect and deception, willful neglect of official duty, because it says in your guide, you will make exceptions and deal with the situation. And then on top of that, if you connect me to another customer service rep instead of a supervisor, that's deception.
Okay, Mr. Davis, this is what we're going to do, and I appreciate you stated your case very well and brought to the issues to the board and Mr. Snow. 2 things. Jake, if you or a designated person can meet with Mr. Davis afterwards, and Mr. Davis, we have your contact information, so directly or indirectly, we got the information from you yesterday. Now, I'd be more than happy to give you my business card, and after talking to Jacob and his staff, you're welcome to contact our office, but we do appreciate you coming down.
I just need 2 questions answered. Number 1, this lady, Val, what is her...
And that's, Mr. Davis, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, what is her official title?
No,
And number 2, did she in fact, within immediately after me talking to her, send a text message out to the buses?
Very good. That's fair. And thank you again for coming down. Is there anyone else?
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to the board? Seeing no one, this meeting is adjourned.